Today we're going to change out the linkage that drives the footrest. If during handling there's a clip that could break or come loose, if that's the case, then your footrest will be sticking out and it'll be loose. So what we're going to do is we need these tools. We need two 10mm wrenches, a 4mm Allen wrench. Optional is a 10mm socket, and I have a 7/16 socket, a big flat blade screwdriver, and a optional using a cordless drill. So I'm going to tip it on its back. And the part that we're talking about is this linkage right here. You can see it's unhooked. I'm going to replace it as if it was broken. So the first thing that we have to do is remove the footrest. So we have 4 7/16 bolts. Need a 7/16 socket. We're now able to tilt this and slide it past the mechanism. Take it out. Next, I'm going to remove these 2 bolts. And this will remove the carriage or car. And I'm going to lift out the car, set it on the ground. And now we have 2 shoulder bolts that hold this set of linkages on. So it's these 2 nuts have to come out. They're just lock nuts. The reason we have to remove the car is so that you can have access to this one. So these are lock nuts. The shoulder bolts are actually threaded into the piece of metal. This just makes sure that they won't come out. And then I'm going to, with the screwdriver, back these 2 shoulder bolts off. And as they get closer, put your hand underneath to catch these plastic washers. You need to reuse those. So on each bolt there's a thin plastic washer, then it goes through the mechanism link, and then there's another thin plastic washer, and then the thicker plastic washer. As you can see, the bolt has a little step. That's what the shoulder is called. So this step should be snug against this side of the bar when you reinstall it. Pause. So we're taking the linkage out, saving the bolts. Now we're going to take the new linkage, and it's going to come like this. So it ends up, it should be crossed like that. And what we're going to do is start the top one first. So we're starting with the bolt, a thin washer onto the bolt. The bolt goes through the linkage, then the thin washer, and then a thick washer. And this screws back into the threaded bar. So just get that started with your fingers. This is the tricky part. You don't want the washers to get stuck between the shoulder of the bolt and the link and the iron. So you want that to go till the shoulder of the bolt is sitting firmly on there. You can tell that these are not twisted or bent. They're straight up and down. Yeah, are you on pause? Okay, I'm going to put the bottom bolt in, so I have my washer, thin washer on the bolt, goes through the linkage, thin washer, thick washer, and then I'm going to thread it in by hand. Okay, so I'm just finishing up. I'm going to tighten this as tight as you can get it with your hand, with the screwdriver. Now we're going to put the 2 lock nuts on. All right, now we're ready. So the brackets face the seat. Put the nuts on. All right. So on the bottom one, you need the 4mm Allen wrench. On the top one, you need a 10mm wrench. And we're going to lift this up, and so the hook comes between the 2 bars and it snaps onto this bar. I'm going to go ahead and snap that on, and that's how it should look. At this point, I'm going to run the mech just to make sure everything works. Looks like everything's working fine. Now I'll put the footrest back into place. Get the first 2 started by hand before you spin them just a little bit. Leave them loose until you get all 4 bolts attached. Once the 4th bolt is in, you can go ahead and tighten it. Open and close is okay, and we're ready to set the chair back down into position. Now we're ready to set the chair down back into position.